of the two Missouri River Township Democrats. Okay, so just to note, this is a hybrid meeting, as you can see. So we have participants in person, we have participants on Zoom. For our Zoom participants, if you have a question, could you please, for one of these speakers, could you please put it in the chat?
Yeah, he was a big.
And also, please remember to stay muted. Okay. All right. So thank you for coming out tonight. We have a great lineup of Democratic candidates for state legislature here to speak to you tonight, and I'm so excited about it because we have some of the most passionate, talented, kind-hearted people from our community who have stepped up to run this year in the November 8th election. And if we can get all of these people elected, which is not impossible, if we can get all of these people elected, we can help break the Republican supermajority. Yay. That has really been holding our state legislature hostage to extremist policies that aren't aligned with the values of Missourians for so many years. So, you know, with these folks, we can bring balance back to our state government. And I have looked at the campaign websites of all these candidates. I've met these candidates. I've seen them at events. And I'm telling you, these are some really good people who are running. These are people who have been dedicated members of our community who have already, before they got into politics, been involved in community service, and have really stepped up to make a difference in our neighborhoods before even running for office, and now they're running for office, and they want to bring back the type of real representation to our community that we've been missing for a long time out here in West and South St. Louis County. So I'm really, really excited to help these folks tonight. Now, we're going to have some candidates speak. After the candidates speak, I would like you all to do something tonight during this meeting to help them out. So we have created a page on our township website that has pictures and bios of all of these candidates and links to their website. And so something I would like all of our participants to do, we're gonna show the page in the Zoom, and we'll give you the link here tonight. If you've got a phone, you can help us out with this if you're in person. Send this page that we made with brief descriptions of all these candidates and links to their website to some friends of yours who are interested in learning more about this election. See if you can, you know, we have a lot of discouraged Democrats and independents in our area who might not be paying attention to these local races and might not be aware that we have such great candidates who have good chances to actually win. And so if you can please just pick a couple of people tonight and share information about these candidates with them after you hear from them. And also, if you feel moved to donate to any of these candidates tonight, please do it tonight, because the election is in November. It's the first week of November. It's November 8th. So, we are running out of time to get out the vote. So now is a great time to send $10 or $20 to these candidates you're going to hear from tonight. So, and you know what? You might see someone who's not running in your district, but you really like them. You can't vote for them, but you can give them a $25 donation. So, and you can help them win that way. And I'm also, hopefully, the candidates will mention some upcoming volunteer opportunities that they might have. So if you hear about one of those, if you're able to volunteer, please do sign up. Okay, so thank you so much. Tonight, we are very lucky to have Tracy McCreary as a surprise guest. She thought she wasn't going to be able to make it. But she is running for state senate in the 24th district. You can find out more information about her at tracymccreary.com. You can also find it on the webpage that we're going to share later that's on our township website. Tracy, would you like to be the first to speak?
I will.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I thought I was going to be in Jefferson City this week because, as all of you know, we're in the midst. We finished our veto session yesterday that adjourned mid-afternoon, and the Missouri Legislature is still in the midst of a special session right now. So the House goes back next week to continue a special session. So we will be debating the budget or the tax cut bill next week on Wednesday, starting at noon in the Missouri House. So thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me be a surprise guest. I'm Tracy McCreary. I'm running for the Missouri State Senate in District 24. It's currently held by Democrat Jill Shoup, and the district has been redrawn. It got drawn by the judges this go around, and it now runs north and south, where it used to run east and west. It runs up and down I-270. So it runs from Maryland Heights all the way down I-270 to Sunset Hills, Valley Park, Benton. So it's a Democratic district, but it's very close. It's 53% Democratic. So during these midterms, it's going to be really critical that all of you not only remember to vote yourselves, but motivate like-minded voters to get out to vote as well. So I am honored to be on the ballot with many really talented candidates that are in this room today. Leslie's been a hard worker. You'll hear from her later, Melissa. And then we're joined by friends Deb Lavender, Luke Barber, other folks online I think will be joining us. This is an amazing slate of candidates, and we truly are all in this together. So, over the last several years, we've heard a lot about politics being broken in Jefferson City. And one of the reasons I'm running is because I want to be somebody I am somebody that works well with people in both parties, but also in both chambers. And I think that when I go door to door, that's what voters want. They want somebody who has the ability to look at things in a common sense way and actually get things done. So if you want to send someone to the state Senate who's going to call people names on social media and get into fist fights on the Senate floor, you probably should not vote for me because that's not my style. I am not going to do that. There are a lot of really important things that we need to be focused on here in the state of Missouri. So I am going to be someone that goes to Jefferson City. I am going to stand up and speak out for the importance of supporting public education. In this 24th district, we have some of the best schools in the entire, not just in the state of Missouri, but in the entire country. So I want to make sure that we are respectful of local control and that we do everything we can to lift up educators and all the support staff. I'm quite concerned about turnover in public education right now. Also, I truly believe that freedom is on the ballot this year. The Dobbs decision this summer really has motivated a lot of voters, both women and men, to look at reproductive rights, including access to abortion, as something that is now a state issue. So, I truly believe that freedom is on the line. The courts have said that a lot of these debates are going to be back at the state level. So, I am motivated to run. I'm Field Director Craig's on stag over here with me. He's helped us knock on thousands and thousands of doors. We could really use your help: door knocking, phone banking, yard signs especially out in the West County, South County area would be a huge help. But anything you can do would be great. And please just know that anything you do to help my campaign also helps other people on the ballot. We truly are all in this together. So it's kind of an interesting fluke that we've got Trudy, Trish, and Tracy all on the ballot at the same time. So I know my friend LaDonna Applebaum joked about changing her name to Tradonna, just so she can. But please know that anything you do to help us, it also helps Trudy Bush Valentine, it helps Trish Gumby, and up and down the ballot, we all have to stick together. And I really appreciate your support tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So again, please, if you are interested in helping Tracy McCreary win in the 24th district, please go to her website right now and donate or sign up to volunteer. All right. I think next we're going to go ahead and let our candidates who are on Zoom speak. So Deb Lavender, would you like to go first?
I'd be happy to. Jay, thank you for your leadership in running this meeting. And I know John is sitting behind you, making sure all the pieces are working. So thank you very much for having this opportunity for us. I'm sorry to not be there with Representative McCreary. She's an amazing woman and works hard every day that she's in the general legislature. And I know she's going to do great for us in the US Senate. So we all know about the Dobbs decision, and we all know that our freedom has been taken away from us, and we're all working hard for that. I'm going to focus a little bit of effort on our budget. I'm disappointed that the bill to decrease taxes passed in the Senate and is being moved to the House next week. That is likely to take another $1 billion out of the budget over the next many years. We do have a surplus right now, and I've been touting the surplus of $13 billion, and there's more that the state of Missouri could and should be doing with that money. But to cut taxes right now is just such a false promise for better in Missouri. Our governors continue to feel that that's the only thing that they can do for the state of Missouri is to cut people's taxes. Many of you will know we're lowest in the nation for teachers' pay. We're lowest in the nation for government workers' pay. We have 7,500 positions open in our state government right now. 1,000 of those people are social workers in our social service department. We have lost foster children in our state. Children have died waiting for social services to show up in abusive situations in our state, most recently in Kansas City. And this is just a very low level of functioning of any state government. And to not adequately put resources into what we should be doing to care for the people of the state is just abysmal. And to think that one of the best things that you can do for people in the state is give them a tax credit. I'm sorry, I can't see the room of who's here tonight, but I would doubt any of us are going to benefit anything more than $25 a month from this tax credit. And we know that the people at the top of the income bracket are going to make much more money. If we invested that money instead into the state of Missouri and we helped services and people and education and brought people up, we have so much potential in our state. We all are still here because we love Missouri. And we know the potential we have. As red as it might be, we know that times can be better than what they are now. So I'm working to get back into the House to be able to work with the budget over the next several years to see if we can't make a difference in some of these areas that I've just spoke of. My request for you tonight is whether or not you will give me your name to endorse me. We are going to run an ad in the West newspaper. My understanding is that's never been done. We're going to have a list of names of people who support my candidacy. And if that is something that you'd like to do, if you're on the Zoom, put it in the chat box and I'll collect that. And Jay, perhaps you'll be generous enough to me to pass a piece of paper around the room for anybody who might be willing to be on my endorsement list. And of course, I always like yard signs. No, they don't vote. And yes, people count and notice how many yard signs you have out. We'll be putting ours back out into the neighborhood on October 1st. So if you want to help us with yard signs, we'll take you for that. But if you live in the district and would like a yard sign and didn't have one at the primary, if you had one at the primary, we're bringing it back out to you. But if you didn't have one, we'd be happy to do that for you as well. So tonight, that's my ask. I think there are a couple of people here that will benefit from your donation. Beyond myself right now, we've had a good fundraising year. I'm going to attribute that to the generosity of people and that I've been asking people for money for about 16 years now. So I've worked at it hard. I've got some good friends. I've got some good supporters. So please share your donations with some other candidates. So I'd love to have your name as an endorsement, and I'd love to have your location for a yard sign. And with that, I thank you all for being here. Thank you for being good Democrats. Thanks for hanging in there in a red state when sometimes we think things can't get any worse, and the next day they do. So with time, with effort, we're going to make a difference. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight. Jay, John, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So Deb Lavender is running for State House in the 98th district, which is the district you are sitting in right now. She's running to be my state rep. I would love to have her as my state rep, so please, everyone who's interested, here I've made this. Go ahead, I'm gonna pass this around the room, and if you would like to add your name to the endorsement list.
Jay, thank you. And I'll take you if you don't live in my district. I'm not sure what our ad looks like yet. If you're not in the district and we have room, we're going to add names. And if you know that you live in House District 98, Jay, thanks for putting that in. Let me know that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deb. Okay, so next up on Zoom, we have Luke Barber, who is running in the 89th district. Luke, are you ready to go?
I'm ready if you are.
Thanks so much, Luke. Go ahead.
So I'm Luke Barber. I am running in District 89, which for those that don't know, I am challenging Dean Fletcher in the 89th district, who is the Republican pick and favorite to be the next speaker. As many people don't know, the leadership in Jeff City right now are sort of the two people kind of calling the shots, are the speaker and the floor majority leader. The two most important kind of positions that kind of control everything in Jeff City. I have decided to challenge the leadership on the other side, despite many people saying that that's an uphill battle. Partly because I've been had the privilege to serve on the St. Louis County Commission on Disabilities, where we've been working on universally designed accessible housing. Many people also don't know about the 14C loophole for sheltered workshops that allows people to pay as low as $1.10 per hour for individuals with disabilities who work in sheltered workshops. Many people also don't know that private and employer-based health insurance coverage does not cover disability supports and services, simply because the billing and coding codes do not exist. Those provider codes don't exist. I am running for state representative because we know that these issues impact so many people with disabilities and social services in our state. I also have been union labor with UFCW 655 at Schnucks. And we know that wages and the cost of living is not matching each other. Our dollars are being stretched thinner and thinner as we buy products such as food, gas, and other things. My opponent in Jeff City had a chance to remove the grocery sales tax. He flipped it from the formal and informal calendar. It would have passed had it gotten a debate on the floor. The current state grocery tax is only 1.225% for the state tax. Local governments aren't going to hurt that much from a 1.225% tax, but that tax would have impacted everyone who buys food. And my opponent chose to kill that bill out of pure animosity to that bill just because he could. Despite numerous phone calls to his LA and his staff and people saying that they wanted it. We have the chance to do something unprecedented in the state of Missouri by voting me in instead of my opponent. Because if I can win this district, it would be the shot heard around Missouri. Jeff City wouldn't know what would happen to them. So my ask to everyone is to donate, to help me with canvassing and door knocking and lit, because last cycle we got within 2,500 votes of flipping this district, which is ridiculously close considering that the district was super gerrymandered last cycle. It was a 60-40 district last cycle. So we're trying to target more the moderates and the independents and the not so commonly voting history of some of those Democrats. To be able to get the numbers right this cycle, to flip this district this cycle, so that we can steal the gavel.
Oh, thank you so much, Luke. All right, so like Luke said, he can use help canvassing, he can use donations to his campaign. His website is upballot.com/Luke-Barber. It's also really easy to find if you Google Luke Barber. It's like the third result. So
there's also lit and envelopes in the back room for those that don't know how to use Act Blue.
Back room.
Oh, it's actually right here. Yeah, so on this table here, there's lit from all of our candidates, and Luke left some donation envelopes in case anybody wants to make a donation tonight. So that might be easier than Act Blue for some folks. So, okay, thank you so much, Luke. We do have one campaign surrogate in the Zoom, I see. Helena, are you able to say a quick word about Colin Levitt, who was not able to be here tonight?
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's good to see you. Colin is out knocking doors and running a strong campaign. He has a campaign manager. He's been fundraising. Of course, if you have any extra cash, donations are always welcome. I will try to get his Act Blue into the chat for everybody. He is canvassing every weekend, but there is a special canvassing weekend that he and Melissa are holding together, Melissa Greenstein, who is in Chesterfield, are having, and it's a joint event, and I'm going to be knocking doors that day as well, and that's on October 15th. So I have a graphic for it, but I don't know where it is right now, but I'll find it just so that you have the meetup information. Oh, they're meeting at 6 North, which is on the corner of Clayton and Henry/Shetler, where the CVS is. And there's 6 North Cafe. They're meeting in the parking lot on Saturday the 15th between 9:30 and 10. And then everybody's going to go out and knock doors. So I do encourage you to put that on your calendar and come. And if you can't make it, please send a donation. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to speak too much for him, but he's a great candidate and we love him.
Thank you so much, Helena. And Colin, can see his sign up here. He's running in District 100, which is Helena's district, and she would like to have Colin as her state representative.
I would.
Okay.
I will also say that the person running against him is terrible. I mean, just terrible. But anyway, that goes without saying. So.
All right, thank you so much, Helena. Okay, so that's all our candidates who are on Zoom, I believe.
Yep.
We don't have any more surprise guests. Okay. So next up, Melissa Greenstein for House District 101.
So thank you so much for having me. I am Melissa Greenstein. I am running to be the state rep in District 101. The new District 101 is part of what Helena ran for in 100 back in the day. And now it's kind of split between Colin and I. So Colin and I like to do things together. So it's Chesterfield Valley. It's many of the neighborhoods south of that. And it goes east to about 141 in Olive. But I will say that it's kind of all musical lines. So it's, you do have to look it up. My website is melissaformissouri.com. On my website, you will find a great district map. We have overlaid the map on Google Maps so you can really kind of see exactly if it cut through somebody's house or not, because sometimes it does look like it did that. Why am I running? I have been debating running for a couple of years, thinking about how I could better serve the community. I have been a public school math teacher. That is who I am in here. I'm always a teacher at heart. But I stopped teaching when I had kids. I always thought that I would go back. It never occurred to me that I wouldn't. But my youngest daughter had some food allergies, a secondary medical condition that actually had us, I think at one point, off 22 different foods. And so healthcare also became a big thing for me. So between education and healthcare, which I feel are kind of like what Luke was talking about with food tax, it's something that touches all of us. Those are the kinds of things where nobody, this is not a partisan thing. We all need healthcare. We all at some point needed education. So those two things, and like Tracy was talking about, obviously abortion to me falls under healthcare. So that is crucial to me. It is healthcare. It's essential and it's necessary. My third big thing that I care about are voting rights. And nobody's touched on that yet, so I'll touch on it. To me, if we don't stop suppressing, I know that's too many negatives, but if we don't stop suppressing the vote, we are in a world of hurt. If we don't start expanding, we have to expand voting rights and make it easier for people to vote. I think this voter ID law makes it really difficult for a lot of people. And the sooner we get to a place where, as a state, we all vote, we're all informed when we vote, and we make it easy for people to do that, we are going to start to see representatives that look like us. And I don't mean physically look like us, but represent us in a way that we feel heard. Because I think a lot of us don't feel heard. I know I haven't felt heard. So for me, if you take, education, healthcare, and voting rights, and you put them in a blender, and you mix it all up, and you spit that back out, somehow those three things together then touch on all the other things that also matter to us, like the environment, like gun safety, like all of the things that as good Democrats we care about, right? So for me, that's sort of how I got to the things that I wanted to focus on. As for things like what everybody else was talking about, the asks, right? So obviously, thank you, Helena. Helena's also my treasurer, so she's both Colin and my treasurer. We share Helena. We share lots of things. So we are obviously doing this joint canvassing day, which we're going to try and make fun for everybody. But we also have a couple of other canvassing coming up. I do want to tell you that if you go on my website right now, or if you go on my Facebook page, we have chosen to take off next week, Monday and Tuesday, and the following because Jewish holidays. I am Jewish, and so we are taking those days off. It just didn't feel appropriate to me to be out doing that. But coming back after that, starting on the weekend of the 1st, we are going to be back at it. And on the 2nd of October, we have arranged for a fun day of elected officials to come together and come canvass. Tracy's coming out, and I think LaDonna, if she can. And we've got a whole bunch of people that are coming out. So it's a great way to get to know some of those other elected officials and walk the doors with them. But normally we would be on Mondays and Tuesdays and Saturdays, and we meet out at the Deerbergs on Clarkson. Other ways you can help, we have phone banking. We obviously have yard signs, so if you're in the district, I would love for you to put one of those up. And it goes without saying that a donation obviously is always helpful. I appreciate Deb's comment. Obviously Deb is like a master at this, so I appreciate her deferring. But it is unfortunately how this works, and so obviously every little bit helps. I also would like to say that I always appreciate when Tracy talks, because Tracy always reminds us that this is a group effort. Colin and I are trying to do that, but it really is, no matter who you are helping, it is helping up and down the ballot. And we are a team, right? We are all on the same side right here, and we have to help all of us get across the finish line. So my goal is for us to flip at least 6 of these seats, break that Republican supermajority, and start, making some good progress in Jeff City. So my website's melissafrommissouri.com. Claire in the back is my deputy campaign manager. She'd be happy to help as well. And I would just love your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Okay, so real quick, raise your hand if you think there are some legislators in our state legislature who could in fact use a math lesson. I'd be happy to.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. Okay, so next up we have Leslie Derrington, who is running in House District 9B6. Yay, Leslie!
Thank you for having me this evening. So yeah, I'm in District 96, which is a bit south of here. I live in Crestwood. The district is also Sunset Hills, Oakland, part of Benton. I actually have a little bit of Queeny Township in my district. Why am I here? I have a background in elementary education, but in 2012, my little girl was diagnosed with, it was at that time a terminal illness. So I quit working in order to meet her needs and become an advocate for children like her. And lo and behold, lived in St. Louis for the last year, and we got her into a clinical trial, and I'm happy to report she's doing really well. We discovered that, getting that early diagnosis, early treatment was the key from terminal illness to pretty much living a typical lifespan. So I threw myself into advocacy. Missouri, actually, because of myself and another parent, became the very first state to add spinal muscular atrophy to the newborn screening journal. And while it's a rare disease, it affects 6-7 kiddos every year in the state. That is a life-changing, life-saving small step that, for us parents that we can do to change the course of this disease. And after that win here, I went to Washington, D.C., did the same thing, and now 98% of babies in this country are all diagnosed that first week of life and are now treated. And it has just, it's completely changed the course of this disease. My daughter does have very little muscle movement. She uses a former fit-and-come wheelchair. She's very motivated. She's a honor student. She has hopes and dreams of her own. But in the state of Missouri, you are very limited in the amount of money you can make if you require Medicaid. And she, as an adult, if she lives here, she will require Medicaid. Her needs are just that great. We are one of the very few states who does not have a Medicaid funding program, which really limits who is able to enter the workforce if you have a disability that's extremely expensive and you want the dignity of going to the bathroom or getting out of bed. So I am lucky in my area. There are two candidates, or there's two of us candidates, and two current representatives who all have a type of disability. So we are looking to form Missouri's first disability caucus. If I would get to Jeff City, October 6th, we are holding a town hall event that's aimed at people with disabilities, families of people with disabilities, to create that direct line of communication from these underserved communities to their representatives, because we need to hear from them. We need to hear how we can support their needs better. I know as a parent what needs to be done. I have that bottom-up view of the world, but it's more important, I believe, to hear from people who are actually living with disabilities and how they would like to be represented in their state. Like I said, it's October 6th. It's over at Watson Trail Park, which is in Sunset Hills. It starts at 5 o'clock. It'll be fun. Silly Jilly will be there, the fire trucks, but most importantly, people who are ready to listen and hopefully make some change in these areas which are so crucially needed right now. I've been on the doors every single day, pretty much. My legs are very tired. Sunset Hills is very, very hilly. I talked to a lot of Democrats, I talked to a lot of Republicans. Honestly, so much of what we want is not that far apart. If you take out, people who are going to scream at me about Hunter Biden's laptop. We want strong schools. We want health care. We want abortion care. I have had a number, it's a very Catholic area. Most women have a statue of Mary, and they are just as mad about this new trigger ban as I am. you know, we don't need our government telling us what type of healthcare we're allowed to have. So I put a big underline under that. Healthcare is between myself and my doctor, child and our doctor. So anyway, if you would like to learn more about me, I've got some old postcards in the back. That's my, rather than tell you my website, but please, you know, reach out if you'd like to make phone calls. You can do that from the comfort of your own phone. And if you want to do a canvassing event, we have them every single weekend, or if you just want to do it on your own time, you can just leave a list. We're so appreciative of anyone who wants to help. Today we lost one of our rock star canvassers. His wife is dealing with some major health issues, so our best thoughts are with him, and he's there with his wife. But I've got a hole. so come find me. Anyway, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Okay, so next up we have Kyle Luzynski, who is running for State House in District 88. Kyle, are you ready to come speak?
Hello everyone, I'm Kyle Luzynski and I'm running to be state rep in House District 88, which encompasses pretty much all of Eureka, a very significant portion of Ellisville, and then Fenton as well. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I was actually encouraged to run by two family friends, Hera and Al Gerber. Thank you very much for inspiring me to finally do something. I first got started in politics, you could say, in about 2015 when I was president of student government, and back then everyone was telling me I should eventually run for political office. I doubted them until now, and I'm regretting it. So I'm relatively new to state politics. I've been following federal politics since about 2015 when Bernie Sanders first ran. Bernie Sanders is also another major reason that I decided to get involved in politics, because his message truly resonated with me. It was powerful enough to convince my mom to flip from Republican to Democrat. And if you look at the data, it shows he would have done pretty darn well among independents. But unfortunately, that situation did not materialize. Instead, we had to deal with the orange devil, Trump. And as many people have expressed, I'm deeply concerned about how abortion rights have been effectively overturned. And of course, Missouri was the first state to pass the trigger law following the Dobbs decision. I'll never forget that post on Twitter. I was so angry at whoever signed that bill, I forget their name, but that was a horrible day for people across Missouri and our country more generally. As I mentioned, I am relatively new to statewide politics, but I do have a should I say, distinguished career in community organizing. I've been a community organizer for the past 7 years. I founded Project Animal Freedom, which is a pro-animal social justice advocacy organization dedicated to building authority in the Midwest about 4 years ago. And perhaps the most remarkable thing I've learned about community organizing is that it's possible to build community from scratch in areas that previously lacked it. That's especially true in the animal rights movement, which is critically underfunded, but I believe it also has some broader applications to how we build activist communities in areas across the Midwest, which are very lacking in pre-existing infrastructure for organizers and activists to meet and work together. Before I became involved with Project Animal Freedom, I was a semi-successful student. Sometimes I did very well, other times I did very poorly. I did rack up some awards, but I did not win a full ride to WashU. Instead, I accepted the best scholarship package they offered to transfer students at FLU, where I was named an MLK Scholar as one of just 40 incoming students to earn that honor for a history of excellence in the areas of activism, community service, and academics. I am an atypical candidate. I'm a fierce progressive fighting for progressive values because I believe we deserve a livable future. That is the slogan for my campaign, a livable future for all. What is a livable future? It's a future worth fighting for and a future worth living through. As many of you may know, we are in the midst of the 6th mass extinction since the beginning of life on Earth. And it could be a matter of 2 to 3 decades before we see wide-scale societal collapse as a result of our collective inability to pass meaningful, broad, comprehensive legislation to reduce environmental harm. So I'm very keen on addressing some of the environmental issues that we possibly can help to avert complete climate catastrophe. I also believe, as part of this livable future for all, that we deserve healthcare as a human right. We deserve a habitable planet upon which to live. We deserve reproductive freedom, and we deserve a host of other progressive policy priorities that we must fight to implement. That is perhaps one of my core messages today. I believe that we should be bold, fight hard, and change the world. There's an anecdote that I wanted to share. Many of you are probably aware of something that Biden recently did, and he canceled $10,000 of student loan debt and $20,000 for Pell Grant borrowers. That one small change resurrected him from the dead. He was getting down into Bush territory. One poll came out showing that he had an approval rating of 33%, but his approval rating jumped by about 10 points almost overnight because of that, in combination with some other victories like the passage of the CHIPS Act. Now, just imagine how popular and how powerful we would be if we consistently delivered bold, meaningful policy that meaningfully improves people's lives, the lives of the American working class. We would be an unstoppable force. It would be much easier to reclaim our state from the terrible forces that be. So to sort of wrap up, I want to let you know that you can learn a little bit more about me and my campaign by going to alivablefuture.com. And I would strongly encourage you to donate. I love it when people give me money because then I can do stuff like send out mailers. So please, if you can, spare $5, $10, $20. It really helps out the campaign.
Thank you, Kyle. Okay, so thank you so much to all of our candidates who came to speak tonight. As you can see, we have people who are really passionate about a number of issues that really matter in our community, who really want to make positive change in the state legislature. I can guarantee you that every single one of these candidates, cares about their neighbors and wants to help make our government work for us again. So, John, do you think that you could pull up the page on our website?
What's the URL?
Just go to you can show them how to navigate. So go to our main website. So this is going to be our township website that we're going to pull up in the Zoom in a second. John's running the Zoom and he's going to share the screen. It's in the drop down menu. Star Wars.
Sure.
Yeah. Or if you can't find it, it's in the email.
All right. So what drop down?
Okay, I guess it's in the shelter. Okay, just go to the email. That's the last email that I sent. Okay. Well, it's just okay. While we're waiting for that, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty with that. While we're waiting for that, okay. So each one of you that's here tonight, would you please consider right now picking one or two of these candidates, going to their website, and either signing up to get a yard sign, to donate to their campaign, or sign up to volunteer at an upcoming event. We do have, for the in-person folks, we do have some yard signs here for you to take home if you live in one of these candidates' districts.
I do not have that one.
Okay. All right. Yes?
I wonder if I could introduce them.
Sure. Yeah. Coming up. Al has someone to introduce.
All right, I'll come on here.
Yeah.
As a member of the Central Committee, member of the Central Committee, I would like to mention that we have been looking for an executive director for quite a while. And this last meeting, we were able to vote in and hire an executive director, at least for a few months from now. And we're very fortunate to have him here in the back. I'd like to introduce Kevin Wyndham, who's our newest A lot of you know Kevin because he's a state representative. And so we only have him for a few months until the session starts. But he will be helping to get things going and get things organized at the county level, which we have needed that for such a long time. So please feel free to introduce yourself to him and talk to him afterwards. Okay.
Okay, so, Morgan, would you like to come up and speak for a minute?
Sure.
While we're waiting on that website?
I would be glad to. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Morgan Moransky. I am the President Emeritus of the Queeny-Lafayette Township Democrats, as Jay likes to say. Basically, I am the immediate past president of the group. But really what brings me here is my work as an activist. I mean, that's really the best way to describe the things that I do. Following up some of the things that they've been talking about, I'll get into in a minute. But one of the things is we built this group from nothing. We started with 4 people, and we wanted to make a place that was safe and comfortable for people to come and see what the Democratic Party is all about and how it works. This is the fundamental grassroots building block of the, county, state, national Democratic Party. And having this many people really shows what a little bit of activism can do. For me, everybody's going to ask you to volunteer and donate money. And that's normal because that's really what their biggest need is. For me, it's easy to give, $5 to $1 a month and have it set up on PayPal or ActBlue and recur every month. If you give somebody $5 a month at the end of the year, you've given them $60. A $60 donor to a state representative candidate is big and is really a huge deal for just a little bit of money, and you can spread it out between 3, 4, 5 candidates. The same goes for volunteering. You may not be comfortable knocking doors, you may not be comfortable phone baking, but even if you can go out and do it once for a weekend, it makes a lot of difference. And if you start by doing that once, you can get comfortable, then you start doing it more, and then the next thing you know, you're up in front of a group of people giving a speech. So I'm gonna do something uncharacteristic. And I've been a little bit known for giving some hard truths, particularly to people up the party. But I'm going to start with the positive things that we're seeing here in particular. In this district, for many, many years, I've lived here since 1995, it was hopeless. I mean, it was 50, 60, 70% Republican, and you knew that whoever was running here was going to lose. That has changed significantly, and not only have we been able to get candidates to run at all, we have a whole slate of candidates who are experienced, who've done this before, who are comfortable getting out and doing it, and even the people who are new to this are really energized and ready to get in and do the things that they need to do to get elected. So there is actually a chance now that some or all of these people can be elected, which would break the supermajority, which would be huge. With that, I've got a lot of dissonance about this election because just as likely as there is a chance for everybody to win, there is a chance for everybody to lose. And in the state of Missouri, I like to say the Republican Party hasn't found a bad idea they won't adopt. It doesn't matter where it comes from or who comes up with it, they bring it here. And what that means is going into this, we're going to need people in different capacities, particularly poll workers. One of the things, if you're not interested in phone banking or knocking on doors, we desperately need people who are willing to volunteer at the polls on election day. They have recently passed some legislation that means there may be paid campaign poll workers supervising what's going on. With the Republicans really pushing this based on the false notion that elections are rigged. If that happens, we need to have Democrats there too. And it can be for any campaign, you can volunteer and do it. We like to bring opportunities for people to go and volunteer that aren't the traditional things that make people uncomfortable. In addition to this, one of my greatest fears is that the Republican legislature has been very good about repealing anything that resembles a gun law. And many of the polling sites are in churches and schools where guns are banned, but I voted at a golf course. And if there are concealed and carry laws where these poll workers can come in with a gun, that is some very serious voter intimidation. And what this election means in a larger grand scheme of things, I think we really are walking on a thin line for our democracy. It's not very far away from my representatives not representing me at all and being in a position where I can't vote them out of office. And at that point, we cease to be a democracy. This is the part where it gets ugly. So everybody, I've heard lots of people get up here with doom and gloom saying this is the most important election you've ever taken part in. I'll let you look at the landscape that's out there and say, we need to work harder than we ever have before if we want to keep living the way that we have been. Anybody have any questions?
Elena's got one on Zoom.
Hey, I'm putting in the chat, there's a link to the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition. I can't, you know, it's Jen Slavic and Denise Lieberman, and you can sign up for as few as 3 hours to be an observer. That's technically a nonpartisan organization, but it is possible to support voting rights by observing from outside. If anybody has a problem, then you can call a lawyer for them, things like that. If you can't commit to a whole day, which the Board of Elections would require, if you were to go to do that, that's a really great thing to do, and you get paid. But this is a free opportunity to, based on your schedule, volunteer to be an observer in case anybody has a problem. So I put it in the chat. It's a Google form. You can volunteer, and I'm doing it because I think that's one way that I can try to counteract the changes in the voting laws, is at least to be there in case anybody needs help. Thanks.
I just want to show this quickly to you. This is a handout that we have on our lit table here. So this is a handout that explains the new voting law in Missouri that requires, unfortunately, certain types of ID at the polls. And this document has contact information for various voter protection organizations. So if you'd like to take a couple of these and give them to folks who might not understand the new voting laws. We'd appreciate you spreading the word on that. All right, and I think, let's see, did Luke have his hand raised? Is he? Okay. Well, Morgan, are you?
I was going to remind everyone, 866-R-VOTE. Remember that number, save it to your phone. That is the hotline number that Missouri Voter Protection uses.
Yes, thank you, Luke. Okay, well, thank you so much, Morgan, for speaking about the importance of this election. Okay, so we do have the website available now, so John, could you share? Okay, so we were gonna, I apologize, we were gonna put this in our drop-down menu, and I didn't make that happen today, but, okay. So if you go to our website, which is qlmrdc.com, that's our township website. And then, John, can you scroll down a bit to show the URL at the top?
Oh,
for the folks in the audience?
yeah, I just sent it in the chat.
Okay, well, it's in the Zoom chat. In the audience, I guess, can you make like a shortened link for that we could share? To the
I
live
can create
audience?
a QR code to put up there in a minute.
Okay, we'll put a QR code up for you all so that you can scan it from the, so you can scan it over there from our screen. Okay, so, if you have time, could you scroll down a little bit too so folks can see Tracy McCreary? Okay, so we have photos of every candidate who spoke tonight and also a couple who weren't able to come. We have links to their website and we have a brief bio, which is based on the information on their websites of each candidate. So this is all of the candidates who are running in districts that overlap or are immediately adjacent to our Township Club area. So if you could please find this on our website. Here's a QR code. Okay, thank you, John. John, to the rescue again. All right, so you can, if you have your phone with you, you can scan that, get to the link. And that, if you could just please take a moment to share this. You can text it, you can email it to somebody you know who might be an independent voter, they might be a new voter, they might be a reluctant voter who doesn't think any Democrats are running out here. If you could just share it to one person or 5 people if you can think of that many, just to let them know, and you can let them know if you want that you were at this meeting tonight, that you heard these candidates speak, and if there's anybody you liked in particular, please be sure to mention that. Because we really want to, unfortunately, this is a midterm election, which means we should have higher turnout than some elections, but a lot of folks don't vote at all for state representative, and they don't learn who's running for state representative. And all of us in this room know how important our state reps are and how much a difference they can make in our everyday lives and the quality of our state government. It's our state government, it's our state legislature that determines a huge portion of how much money goes to our public schools. They determine how a lot of healthcare gets administered in this state, how many people are eligible for Medicare and Medicaid. They determine so many things that affect our everyday lives that are really important to us as citizens of this state. And frankly, unfortunately, a lot of the people in our state legislature right now are not working for us, they're working for their out-of-state donors. So we need to elect folks like the people here tonight, who are people who really want to be in the state legislature because they want to make positive change to our communities. They want our state to have a working government that passes reasonable laws that do good things for the people of the state. Yes, and I think that we all want that. And I think that a lot of our neighbors want that too, even if they don't always vote on our side. Which is why I hope you'll share information about these candidates, because we have some really genuinely good people in this room tonight who are running for office because they care about their neighbors and they care about our area of St. Louis County, and they care about the whole state. And so I would really like to see as many of these candidates as possible win these seats. If we elect even one of these candidates tonight, that person is going to go on to do great work in the state legislature, but I know we can elect all of these candidates if we get out and work. So, and if we knock doors, if we phone bank, if we donate, if we come to meetings like this one, and then go back out into our communities and talk to our neighbors, it makes a big difference if you can say, I saw this person, I met this person, I talked to them. That really makes a difference when you're talking to your neighbors. You can let them know that you had an actual conversation with one of these candidates. You got to hear them speak about what matters to them, and you know that they're going to do a good job. So thank you so much. I hope folks had time to scan that. And John, could you just scroll down a little bit and show? So we do have, see there's Luke. So everybody who is here tonight, and a couple who weren't able to make it, they're all here. I tried to pick good photos of you all, so feel free to tell me if you want to change it. Okay, so thank you so much, John. Okay, so next up we have John Judy with a presentation.
Yes, with some more how to help protect your vote and make sure everyone's vote gets counted. So the most important way to make sure everyone's vote gets counted is to make sure that we have enough election judges working the polls. So we met with Eric Fay a few months back at the Board of Elections, and he talked to us about how their recruitment for election judges is down, and they really need people to show up. They especially need Democrats here in South and West County, and they need Republicans up in North County, and they need to have full representation. They need to have one of both parties in order to actually be able to hold elections in all of these places. So if you can, it is a full day task, but if you can, please sign up to be an election judge. You have to be 18 years old. They do also have a student program. So if you are 15 to 18 and want to volunteer, they have a program that you can sign up and work with them on doing that. I'm going to put the link in the chat here to sign up. Let me bring that up. There we go. So that is one of the most important things that you can do. Also, in addition to the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition, the Missouri Democratic Party is also doing a voter protection program. And they are looking for volunteers to sign up to do that. And they're going to man a phone line to help voters who are having problems. They're going to have observers out watching to make sure that none of the shenanigans happen here. If you want to sign up with the state party, again, I'm putting the link in the chat. They have a Google Docs form to sign up, and I can share that with anyone here who's interested as well. And then last is make sure that you know how to vote. Like was mentioned earlier, there's a new voter ID law. You have to bring a state or a government issued photo ID with an expiration date. That's a driver's license, a non-driver's license, military ID, and that's pretty much all that they're going to allow. However, if you do not have a photo ID, you still are able to vote a provisional ballot. Those ballots will go back and be counted by the Board of Elections after they verify your signature matches what's on your voter registration card. So if you do not have a photo ID, you still can vote. And it's so important that people know that, because a lot of election judges don't quite understand that and are going to try and turn you away. You also now can do absentee voting both with excuse 6 weeks before the election, which starts Tuesday. There's only 6 weeks left. And no excuse in-person absentee voting starts 2 weeks before the election. So you can just go to the Board of Elections and cast a ballot early at any time while they are open those 2 weeks before the election. So that was my update.
And if you're doing absentee voting, it needs to be notarized, and you can go to your city or county libraries.
Depending on your the reason why you're doing excuse absentee mail voting, yes.
Is that mailing it?
Yes.
Yeah, for mailing it. Yeah.
Can I ask who in this room has done or on Zoom has been a poll judge, an election judge? Am I the only one? Okay, okay, good. It's really quite fun. It's very invigorating. You bring snacks. You make friends. You make friends with Republicans. I know that that sounds awful. Seriously, they are actually very nice people, and it's very heartening that we can actually all come together to make it happen. So. I don't know if that's a plug or negative.
Thank you. That was Committeewoman Jessica Lozetta.
Donna brought up in chat, passports are also valid
I was
IDs.
gonna say.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, do we have any other questions for John? Okay, thank you, Committeeman John Judy. He was speaking and running the Zoom at the same time. All right, so next up we have Central Committee report and general announcements. I don't really want to make John do this twice, so can someone else up who's on the committee person come up and make a report? Anyone? Volunteer? Okay.
Well, I think the main news, as Al pointed out, the main news is that we have an executive director. Go ahead, Jessica.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Al did our announcement. We have an executive director. We're also just focusing on voter registration, getting people out there, and supporting all of the wonderful candidates that we have. So we're also doing a gala next year, but I don't have the date off the top of my head.
Do we have an office yet?
Don't know.
They're still deciding on location. There's still a couple places. being checked.
TBD to have Kevin actually have an office at some point.
They also announced the propositions. None of the propositions are being supported. So Proposition 1 is authorizing the treasurer, or changing how the treasurer can manage investments.
Amendment.
Amendment 1, yes. And the state party is recommending a no vote on that. Amendment 3 is recreational marijuana. The state party is making no recommendation for or against. We do want decriminalization. We do want people to be released from prison for it, possession of marijuana, but some of the provisions in it and putting it into the state constitution is a little bit too far. Amendment 4 is about restricting the Kansas City police budget, and the state party is against that. And Amendment 5 is creating a Department of the National Guard, which the state party is also against. That one is really complicated and could cause chain of command issues. So that was the only other update.
Okay, thank you again, Lafayette Committeeman John Judy. Okay, well, I just have one last announcement before we go ahead and go into breakout sessions, unless anyone else has something to bring up. There is an event this Saturday for Trudy Bush Valentine. She's doing an event in Queeny Park Saturday from 3 to 4 p.m. And it would be great if we could get some folks to come out there. She's planning on talking to voters from this area. And we're hoping to get pretty good turnout from local Democratic clubs at this event. So if anyone is interested in going, it's going to be at the Jarville Greenhouse outside. It's going to be a lovely day. They're going to have free ice cream. It's family friendly. You can bring the kids. So
it's on the Nationwide side by the Street Dog Museum.
Yeah. So anyone who's interested in going to that, again, it's going to be 3 to 4 p.m. I know Vaughn Walker, who's been sort of our liaison with the Trudy Bush Valentine campaign here in St. Louis. He's worked really hard and put his whole heart to make this event happen. So I appreciate that. So I just wanted to let you all know. And with that, I think, do we have anyone else who would like to make an announcement? Yes.
It's actually not the Dog Museum.
No, it's next to it. It's right next to the dog.
Next to that. Yeah, it's the greenhouse area that's next to it. Okay.
It's a roofless greenhouse.
Interesting. Yeah, but it's pretty. It's a pretty backdrop thing. So. Okay. Anyone else? All right. well, thank you so much to our candidates who came to speak tonight, and thank you to everyone who attended. Again, please take one action tonight, even if it's just picking up a yard sign, which again, we do have yard signs for all of these candidates and also for hopefully our future Senator Trudy Bushonton right here. So if you'd like a sign or some of this literature from these campaigns, please do take one. And we're going to go ahead and break out into our individual sessions now. So thank you, everyone.